Hey everyone, this is Blonde Guy Gamer, and since I got an HDPVR not too long ago, I figured I might as well test it on a game, or a game demo in this case, and while at the same time I feel like trying on a demo of a game I'm actually kind of looking forward to, and that's Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. Now, you can get an early access of this demo when you purchase Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate on Xbox Live Arcade or PlayStation Network. I have it on Xbox Live Arcade just to be consistent. When it comes to the Lords of Shadow games, as Castlevania games, I actually do enjoy them. I know there's some Castlevania fans that may not like this new reboot series, or whatever you may want to call it, but I still think it goes in interesting directions, and the presentation is really good. I actually really enjoyed it in that aspect. But yeah, when you boot up the demo, you just see Gabriel looking at a book. I'm not really sure what he's even reading, but maybe we'll find out in the full game. And yeah, this is just some options of stuff I just fill around with, although I just leave it at default, I believe. Yeah, if you never played the first Lords of Shadow, this is it's a tiny bit of a spoiler, but you basically play as Dracula. And, yeah, the usual message of, like, saying it may not represent the full quality. It doesn't represent the full quality, rather.
The Brotherhood's siege is in vain. I am Dracul, Prince of Darkness.
Good to know. Let's press start and begin the demo. So yeah, if there is one thing I do really enjoy about the Lords of Shadow games is the look and the presentation and the art style. That's one thing I do feel that Mercury Steam really nailed with this series, and I believe this is their last Castlevania game they're doing. So this is even though it's number 2, this is actually the third game in a trilogy, with Mirror of Fate being the second one, or the in-between game, if you will. Slow camera pans. Yeah, the Lords of Shadow games always had a thematic thing going for it, which, you know, I kind of like. So, there's Gabriel. You'd think after being immortal for like hundreds of years, he'd get bored after a while just sitting in his throne. Just sitting there, I guess. Yeah, he looks really bored. Or tormented that he's like an immortal beast, whichever you may want to perceive as. Great, I told no Celesters at the door. If it's another Jehovah's Witness. Okay, just throw that cup away. So yeah, now we get the obligatory tutorial. Well, it is a demonstration, so of course it's going to be a tutorial. Now what's funny is that we get to jump around and attack before we even get to attack anyone. But yeah, and this is a new addition to this sequel, is that you can actually have free movement of the camera, where in the first Lords of Shadow it was basically just fixed cameras, kind of like in God of War. Well, this game is still kind of like God of War, but you know, the first game was pretty much a God of War clone, but that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I still liked it, even though some people may not think highly of Lords of Shadow, just think, oh, it's just some God of War ripoff. But I think the mechanics in Lords of Shadow worked well on its own.
We can take it. God protect us.
What a timely coincidence. I'm dying for a little drop of blood.
Okay, now we get to begin. And the combat is pretty much the same as it was in Lords of Shadow, the first Lords of Shadow. You have attacking, you have blocking, you have evading. You have 2 different types of attacks. The direct attacks with X on the 360, and the area sweep attacks with Y. You can also hold the button down to do more combos. You can do different attacks. And here's the evade. The evading's a bit more different in this one, as it's a bit more faster. It's not just a roll like in the first one. You actually do sort of this cool sweep, since you're pretty much a vampire and you got cool vampire powers. Although what exactly you're extracting when you're attacking, I'm not exactly sure. But it is pretty much like your chain weapon in the last game. And yeah, when they glow red, you press B to grab them. And the quick time events make a return. Although I do believe in the options, which I actually don't show in this demo when I record it. There is an option to turn off the quick time events. So if you didn't like the quick time events in the first game, they do give you an option to just turn them off. Although personally I never minded the quick time events in any of the Lords of Shadow games. Though if it just annoys you, you can always just turn it off in this game. And here we are introduced to the sword, which is like the white magic in the first Lords of Shadow, which let you take health when you hit enemies. So it's good to use when you're low on health, obviously. And it comes in a little meter at the bottom left. But it does recharge, so it's not exactly that limited. And it's easy to get knocked down by these guys because they're pretty persistent. So you can just tap A to come get back right up. And okay, that was a close angle of me pretty much eviscerating that guy just for some blood. And yeah, actually biting the guys does get you back health, but you get health back much quicker using the sword. And like the duality aspect of the light and dark magic, we also have the dark magic, which in this is the Chaos Claws, which lets you break through their shields. But yeah, it's well, I know it's a given to compare this game to God of War, but it's kind of like the Gauntlet gloves in God of War 3. Or the Hercules gloves, or I forget what they were called exactly. It's been a little while since I played God of War 3. But yeah, it's kind of like that, and you use those to destroy shields. And each weapon has its own combo, like the default, between the default this and the sword. Yeah, you can pretty much just switch them all out. You know, which is pretty simple to get into. And all of them have their own, pretty much the same combos of their own type. So all the weapons have a good diversity to it. And here I am missing, because while you do have free camera aim and stuff, it can be a little tricky at first to sort of keep an eye on everyone and to lock on to the right person. It's the only really minor, I guess, issue I've had with this game based on the demo so far. Just that, you know, if you're going for someone and they try and go for someone else, it may not go for the other guy right away. Or you could just, you know, just evade everywhere. And actually, the evasion move can knock him down too, so that's always good in a pinch. So, was it really necessary to, like, just completely destroy him after you suck his blood? Because he's already dead when you, like, suck his blood anyway, I assume. But no, you gotta, like, destroy his body, I guess. So... Ugh. This stupid thing's in my door. Get out of here. So yeah, that was basically the combat portion of the game, or at least the introduction of the combat. You know, great. His throne room is sealed off. Now where will he sit when he's bored? But yeah, and now we get to do a little bit of platforming, which again is similar to like the first Lords of Shadow, only it's a bit more dynamic because, well, you're pretty much an undead badass and can like leap large distances. And I like how if you don't like games that kind of handhold you, and oops, I fell. And yeah, if you fall, you just sort of teleport back to where you were at like, I think at the cost of a little bit of health. But yeah, there's more quick time events with this kind of stuff too. Yeah, you can actually, even though the bats sort of guide you where to go, but where to jump, you can actually hold the button down to show a line to where you go, but it's as if you need more help somehow, and oops, come on, there we go, I just need to get down. So, it's kind of funny that they would feel the need to give you even more guidance than the jumping already gives you. Alright, what the hell is going on? Oh. Okay, these are definitely not Jehovah's Witnesses.
What is a man? But a miserable pile of secrets.
Okay, it's funny that you made a reference and all, but that doesn't really make sense in context. Well, then again, it didn't really make much sense in Symphony of the Night to begin with, that line, if you think about it. And oh look, a boss.
God is with me, monster.
That will be your ruin.
I will purge the world of your presence.
So yeah, just like in the first game, you have bosses. And this guy is pretty cool. He basically just has dual blades and just charges at you. I do like how it gives you an indicator to show what attacks are unblockable, so that way you have to dodge them. Of course, with attacks like those, you can block and counter at the right timing to do more damage. This guy is pretty easy, which, again, is a given since it's a demo. But you just keep at it, and... Okay, there we go. So, yeah, that doesn't actually do it. So, now we have to deal with this giant thing. Now, in the first Lords of Shadow, there were a few bosses where you had to, like, climb on them, kind of like in Shadow of the Colossus, which a lot of people didn't really like that much, as it was fairly blatant, and not quite as good as Shadow of the Colossus in that aspect. But here, this giant mechanical thing is really more of like a level than a Shadow of the Colossus boss. It's more designed as a level, which you'll see here as we have to now fight more guys on his arm. And yeah, you can still do air combos, and yeah, that jerk just flies around, and later on he's gonna try and attack you with arrows, but first we have to jump on this guy's arm to avoid getting knocked off. And he's just gonna keep punching the castle, but first we have to deal with more Brotherhood soldiers. Oh, so much for those guys. So yeah, those little like yellow those little yellow bolts we can climb across on, and we have to do a quick time event to avoid falling off. So yeah, those little bolts we have to use to climb across. So yeah, we just gotta wait for him to smash, that way more of his, I guess, armbands break off, so we can climb farther, or further along his arm. So there we go. Now we just have to climb up, which climbing is pretty simple. All I have to do is pretty much just push a direction, and occasionally you have to like jump if it's further away. So yeah, now this guy is shooting arrows at us, which the game promptly shows us, hey, you gotta make him shoot the things in order to progress more further along. Which I know this is a demo and all, but it does get a little annoying when every time it shows you that, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Again, it's a little bit hand-holding, but, you know, that's just this generation of gaming. Of course, that doesn't stop people like Game Grumps from not even knowing what to do, even if the game tells them what to do anyway, when they're not, if they don't pay attention, but I digress. So yeah, now we gotta climb up this thing with all this gears and stuff, and this guy is still shooting arrows at us. Ow. So yeah, we just teleport back to here, which is basically just a checkpoint. I think we do lose health every time we kind of fall off, so it is possible to die, but I believe even if you do die, you just sort of restart at a checkpoint anyway, so, or can restart from a checkpoint, so not a huge deal. Ah! Damn it, the gears. You gotta love abstract Gothic horror technology in Castlevania. Ooh, that was close. Now we just gotta keep going. So yeah, the climbing I think is much more streamlined and I think a little better here compared to like the first game, especially with the Shadow of the Colossus bosses in the first game, which again I didn't really mind. I didn't actually mind most of the blatant stuff in the first Lords of Shadow, but here at least it's a bit easier to do. And yeah, this guy will shoot arrows at the ground, and getting him to hit the ground is tricky because he follows you much more closely this time, so you only have like a split second to like dodge out of the way, like there. Of course, you could just use your sword to get health back from these guys in case you do start to take damage. Of course, you got stuff like their shields to deal with first, or just take a bite out of them, which recovers a little bit of health, but it's not as good as using the sword. And because the magic regenerates unless you continuously spam the magic attacks, the magic weapons, there's no real point to biting them, I find, because you have to do a quick time event regardless. And there's always the off chance of you failing, which I'm generally good at the quick time events in Lords of Shadow, but I think there is one time I do fail. So we gotta wait for this guy to shoot. Ow. Well, whatever. That did it. So now we gotta press B on the glowy thing to win. But first, let's take care of this shield guy for some reason. And uppercut him. An air combo. Okay, let's... Yep. We're a vampire. Just killing dudes and ripping them apart for some reason. Well, yeah, let's just get our health back with this guy, and even though I don't really need to... Yes, game, I know. The game's pretty much telling you, okay, listen, you need to do this. Stop fighting guys and just press B on the thing. Actually, this isn't my first time playing the demo either. This is actually technically my second time I played this. Just for recording and for testing purposes on which the HDPVR. This is this is actually the first thing I recorded with the HDPVR, and I'm quite pleased with the video quality now that I record the games in HD, like with my 360, PS3, Wii U, even stuff like the PSP. I can even still record, and it's an HDPVR with like a composite input at the front, so I can still record like Dreamcast and stuff on there too. Although with older consoles I still gotta use my Dazzle, but thankfully that'll work with the recording software that comes with the HDPVR. Anyway, we got more of this stuff to do, like the climbing. And we just gotta get up here. And we're now up to the guy's head, which, oh good, we need to do this some more. Because that's a mechanic we never get tired of.
Tonight will be your last, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah. Continue just being a pussy and shooting arrows at me, for all I care. You'll let me get the head to destroy this giant thing anyway. So anyway, yeah, I'm quite pleased with how the quality of the footage turned out for this, and I've actually, and I know I've been sort of just doing this as a quick little filler video, but I am actually working on the next Lame sequel. I actually have recorded the game, all the game footage I pretty much need for the next game I'm doing with the Apage, so I'm quite pleased with the footage of that, how that turned out. Let's just get this guy, and oh, I was a fraction of a second too late, and I failed. Well, whatever. Let's just get this last thing off already, because this demo is almost over. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's still a lengthy demo, and it shows pretty much quite a bit of what you expect for this game in terms of like the combat and the platforming. Okay, and it's powered by that. And okay, apparently he can do that. I'm not sure how he's able to stomach all that and then puke it back out, but he did. And for some reason that destroys it. Then again, puking on the insides of a giant machine probably would cause it to screw up and get destroyed. So, yeah, I guess whatever works. And now, lots of destruction and... Yep. Luckily we don't need to fight all those guys because... Oops. That just happened. Man, I've heard a party's getting out of control, but this just takes the cake. And this is why you don't throw a party at Dracula's castle. And of course, Gabriel is just fine, because he's the protagonist, and he's a vampire, and a badass. Of course, this guy isn't dead yet. And here is when we actually do get to fight him, or at least maybe finish him off. But, of course, since this is a demo... Wait for it. Yep, it ends right there. So, yeah, that was Lords of Shadow 2. You can download the demo if you get Mirror of Fate on PSN or Xbox Live Arcade. I'm actually looking forward to Lords of Shadow 2. It doesn't come out till February, but, you know, I can wait. And, you know, I might actually one day do videos about Lords of Shadow, or Lords of Shadow Trilogy, but I'm just thinking about it, that's all. I don't know if I'll actually do, and, yeah. Pretty much just says, pre-order it now! And it's available on February. So, I hope you enjoyed this little, like, I feel like trying, and a little test video of my, HDPVR recordings and HD, game recordings, so see ya.